must all abide by the regulations. Having served in government, having served in the military, when there is a quandary like this, you don't stop the mission. It's been, sent to the JAG's office, let them make a determination, let's go on and complete our mission.
What I would suggest, for Ms. Corey's concern, is that you guys submit the copy that you think is viable. In other words, the ones you operate on.
The one GJJ initiated.
Then that's what you put in your process.
Right.
Let's finally get
in your letter to Tallahassee. Yeah.
This is a battle that's going on for almost a year now.
Well,
Can I make a suggestion?
This is under discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's more to whoever you were talking to, I'm assuming Tallahassee. Can we have their review of these documents that are going to be submitted, all right? And I would strongly suggest that both boards submit their documents, within a week.
You mean both councils?
Both councils, so that they can review it in Tallahassee and give us some kind of decision, because quite frankly, I'm getting tired of all this, all right? This doesn't help kids, this is just arguments, all right? Get a determination from DJJ by our next meeting so that we can actually conduct business that has to do with something that's dealing with kids.
That'll be just about the end of the legislative session.
I don't care.
Well,
If they do it quicker than that, that's fine.
But I don't want to put any undue burden on Tallahassee, and especially legal department, because I understand that they're going to be up to their
Let's do this, rather than, making excuses why it can't get done. Let's get the letters done, or whatever's going to be submitted, send it to our office. Yvonne Woodard is the direct liaison regarding the boards and councils.
Sure.
We will filter it through DJJ to wherever it has to go, whether it's legal or us or whatever, and get a decision back. Because I would agree, and I think somebody just said it, what does this have to do with working for children? I mean, all of this bantering around a table, and it's the children who are suffering. So, Yvonne, did you get that?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
wherever you are.
All right, so, yeah, whatever you send out, we'll review.
And I would submit, legislature or not, if they're familiar with bylaws, it should not take someone in your office, 4 months to go through this, okay? And have it to us, a decision by our next meeting, so we can actually get to the business that we're supposed to be doing.
And keeping in mind that in January, the Secretary has tasked us with the review process regarding the statute dealing with boards and councils. And so this statute is going to be completely rewritten and completely revamped, because it's useless. The way it is right now, it's not really serving a purpose. And so therefore, in order to make it effective throughout the state, it's going to have to be rewritten. That, however, is a long-term fix, because that's not going to happen until 2013. So, I think what the boards and councils, not only here, not only Pasco and Pinellas, but statewide, need to come to a decision about how they're going to work for the kids in the interim, without relying on a piece of paper or a document.
Thank you. Then, will somebody call the question? We'll have the vote on your motion.
It's my motion.
I'll call the question.
Thank you. All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay. And thank you all for your interest in that too. I appreciate it. And juvenile justice reports, Pinellas County.
The last few months resulted in our writing a letter to Governor Scott, and I'll read it to you. We, the members of Pinellas County Juvenile Justice Council, write in concern and of the need for your assistance so that we can truly help our local youth. Abuse of authority in certain members of the Sixth Circuit Juvenile Justice Board, whom consist of officials or employees of local state's attorneys, public defender, chief judge, and sheriff's office and school boards, continue to conspire to disable the council, which has a statutory duty under 985.664 FS, 985.668 FS, and 985.6 76 to assist Florida Department of Juvenile Justice in the intervention and prevention programs that at least 3 local grant-making deliberations. To date, they have been unsuccessful. This board, in conjunction with the Florida Department of Juvenile Justice, fails to recognize appointed board members from the Pinellas County Council, design or implement a circuit-wide juvenile comprehensive prevention and intervention plan, have public meetings at which time citizens may be involved, follow its own bylaws, and conduct the proper process for grant reviews as required by law. Furthermore, makes provisions to of their bylaws which are not authorized by law, falsifies yearly reports activities required under law, unjustly deprives the Pinellas Council funding for administrative purposes solely. This has now been going on for at least the last 8 years. It is not uncommon for the chair of this board at any given board meeting to intimidate the Pinellas Juvenile Justice Council or unilaterally call upon local law enforcement to attempt to physically remove those members of the board duly appointed by the Pinellas Council. Clearly, you can see your executive capacity to instruct the Florida Department of Juvenile Justice to stop the Circuit 6 Juvenile Justice Board from engaging in such misconduct so we can help our youth as required by law.
Does that complete your report?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Langford?
We, at our last meeting, we did not have a quorum, so therefore we could not take any votes. So we had a casual meeting and just went around the table and discussed the different issues that were taking place at the time, and the new opening of Pace Academy and some of the other issues that were pertinent to the town, but no votes were taken. That's really the only report that I have.
Thank you very much.
Can I add to that a little bit?
Fine, sure.
Since I'm a member of the council, that I don't want to gloss over the fact that Pace's new facility is going to be able to provide Pasco County with some amazing potential that we didn't have before in terms of serving the needs of girls. And if you're trying to talk about some of those programs, you guys are constantly bombarded by that in the legislature. What Pace really does is one of those providers that does 3 times what they're paid for, puts their commitment for raising local money to match whatever state and federal money that they can get in there. And that facility is an insane facility to be able to get that done. It's not rare, it's rare that you see the facility actually designed ahead of what the need is. And they managed to pull that off as a community initiative. So you're going to look for some successes out there. That's one to look at.
Just to add to that, the community involvement in redesigning the structure. It's a multi-level, former bank, brick and masonry structure, modern technology, computerization, and designed for the at-risk girls to get them back on track in education and out of a bad environment. And it was an effort with a lot of community people grabbing hammers and saws and making the renovations. It's beautiful, it's aesthetically pleasing, it's modern, and it's, I feel, going to truly address the needs of some really at-risk people that we can turn around and get a few success stories going.
That's wonderful. I have a meeting tomorrow morning, as a matter of fact, in Tallahassee with Mary Marks, the executive director, and I will definitely take back.
As a former board member of Pace, I can tell you that when I was on the board, that statewide, they had a non-recid, I'm sure you're aware of, 93%. And I think that still stands either close to or very near to.
So the reason I mentioned the facility is that's a combination of what I think your new mission, if I understand it correctly, is.
Yes.
Is you walk in the building, and for girls who need to find some sanctuary, in every sense of the word,
I had a parent of a male
they did that.
ask me, when are we going to do the same type of program for males, for boys? So, and I understand your limitations, but these are some of the needs that work.
And
Anybody
they
else?
address that transitional period too that's so troublesome too.
When did it open?
Anything under old business? Oh, pardon me.
I'm sorry, I wanted to know when did it open? We just had their grand opening a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I think it's about.
Labor Day, over the Labor Day weekend,
Right
the
around September 9th, right?
sheriff's office, I believe,
Yes,
helped
we
them
moved.
move, and was doing that,
Because
period.
unfortunately, they weren't able to do it for the beginning of the school year, it was like 2 weeks into the school year, so it was right after Labor Day.
Those are the kinds of events we need to know about.
Well, let me bring up one more then. And the lieutenant's being pretty modest about this one, but there's a program we have here where we go to one of these facilities that house these kids and we cook for them. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
It's right here, the Rap House. They have a program called Cook for Kids. And what it is different groups from the community, whether it's faith groups or whether it's just, anybody in the community, even if it's somebody, neighborhood association. There's a calendar that you can pick a date that you can actually go and you cook for the youth that are present at that particular time. So it was just brought up to us at one of our council meetings, so that my staff will be doing it in January. We weren't able to pull it together for December because of vacations and everything, but we'll be doing it in January. And it's good because the kids can interact with law enforcement, for our situation, one-on-one, they tend to see us and run the other way usually, but since we'll have food, I think they'll be coming a lot closer.
Right.
So, and it's good for staff too, because sometimes, we're always surrounded, by the worst of the worst. My staff also, besides working with the youth, they also work on the adult. They're responsible for the inmate processing of the adults within Casco County. So, it's good for them to get out and see these youth in different environments. And, I think it's a big positive for everybody. It's good for the kids, it's good for youth and family, it's good for, our staff, it's good for any providers that do it. It's one of those where you get that instant gratification that something that you're doing is appreciated by somebody too, so I think
And I think, let us know some of these things, because these are the types of things I think that we, as DJJ, need to highlight
Exactly.
that are going on in Circuit 6. So that we're not just hearing the, about the bantering around the table, but that there are really good things happening that the rest of the state may not be able to see. And also, let us know, because we would like to partner with you and be there, whether it's Adrian or Tim or Pat or somebody coming down here from Tallahassee. That's the new direction of the secretary, that's the new vision, to partner with the community. And
The Pasco Council also does a turnaround student award. It's usually every April, and it's basically the same thing. The providers submit individuals that are currently